It's a stocking. That's Jasper. So near the end of 2021, I picked up the stocking from Frantz Foamworks. And a big part of why I picked this up was it was supporting Clowny's toy drive. Clowny Nerf is a community member, modder, awesome person who runs a yearly toy drive where he encourages you to donate toys and you get entered to win prizes. Actually, by buying this stocking, I wound up winning this really cool hand-painted blaster. You can check out my short on this if you haven't seen it already. But Frantz Foamworks, of course, does a continuous thing called the box, which is a box that you get of usually a bunch of things designed to mod one specific blaster. I think this year they're doing like themed games. It looks pretty different. But the stocking is sort of an offshoot of the box, and it's obviously meant to be around the holidays, and so it has kind of different contents in it. And so, as a review, this is a... Jasper. As a review, that's a little bit silly, because obviously you can't buy the stocking. The stocking came in a very limited number, and was only around Christmas time, and it's gone now. But, you know, I kind of wanted to show off just the kind of things that came in this stocking and how they turned out. So let's see what's inside. So first of all, we have the stocking itself. This is what the stocking actually looks like. It is a tactical stocking. It's got MOLLE straps on it. It's got a spot to put to and from on it if you want to give it as a gift. And this is pretty funny because obviously it's meant to be a little silly, but you could use this as a dump pouch if you really wanted to, maybe around the holidays. It's pretty sizable. You can get your hand in there pretty easily, so you could totally fill this with darts and accessories and hang it from your belt. It's got a little handle on it, and that's pretty much all there is to say about the stocking itself, but this is going to go in my tactical drawer, and maybe someday I'll find a funny use for it. But it is well built. It's decently stitched. I don't know where these things came from or if they were custom made, but the stocking itself is a pretty decent addition to the product. Now then, we've got a couple patches. So we have a Frantz Foamworks patch, which is just their logo. It's a nice patch. We also get a Clowny Nerf patch, which is pretty awesome. And so these are both going on my... I have one of those old dart tag vests that I'm using in lieu of a patch wall so far. So those will go on there. You'll see those in videos. We also get a 3D printed Frantz... Excuse me, sir. We also get this 3D printed Frantz Foamworks ornament. It's cute. If I ever wind up with a Nerf themed tree, I can use this. Doesn't really fit into our thing, but it's got a short length of paracord attached here for convenient hanging. And the print quality is pretty good. There's a high level of detail in these snowflakes and in the stripe. And the detail is pretty solid. Now we get to kind of the functional stuff. Now my immediate caveat here is I have not bothered to look up whether these are original designs or if they're licensed things or if you can find them on Thingiverse. I have no clue where this stuff comes from, but here is a 2 mag holder. It's got, I think this is a letter A on the side, so I'm not sure whose signature that is. So the point of this, of course, is you can take 2 Talon magazines for half darts, and you can stick them in here, and it'll allow you to just have 2 magazines attached to each other, so when you want to change mags, you just pull one out and pop the other one back in, they're both right there. One of the neat things about this is there's no hardware on it. It's just a printed part, and there's essentially a little 3D printed spring in the form of this little separated part right here that holds the mag in place. So literally all you have to do, which way is this supposed to go? I think it goes this way. Is just put it in like that. It seems to be compatible with the curved 18-round Talons, but you can't push them in quite as far because this is straight. The 15-round Talons are, you know, tight enough. You can also fit Tachi magazines in pretty far into this. This seems like it could be usable on the right blaster. This setup certainly works on my skewer as a relatively narrow mag weld blaster, but as you can see, just the act of putting the 15-round magazine in pushes the magazine down through the thing. Let me get a better shot of that. So you can see the mag is almost at the end, and if I pop that in there, just the act of doing this pushes it all the way back down. Not a huge deal, and for something that's like a throw-in on the stocking, totally fine. But if we were to compare this to like Out of Darts' 3 Tachi attachment piece, there's 2 screws in the side there. It clamps down real tight on 3 Tachi mags, and there's no shifting whatsoever going on there. So that's kind of the difference. But again, as a purely 3D printed part, print quality is quite good. And I could certainly see myself using this at some point. Now, continuing on the Talon magazine train, this also comes with 3 of these Talon mag followers, and the thing that's cool about these is they stop your pusher from pushing into the breech as long as there are no darts left. Now, I haven't installed one of these yet, but it should just consist of and pulling the spring and the follower out. And then, let's see here. There's a screw in the bottom of the follower. You just unscrew that. And then we use it to screw the spring back onto the new follower. So now there is an arrow on this for direction, so we'll make sure we put that in the right way. Zoop. And boom. We pop this back on. And we have our new follower. And so the benefit of this, of course, if you've got a springer, and this is kind of a springer, the skewer is a springer where you may not need this as much because you do get to watch every dart get inserted into the breech on the skewer, which is one of the things I really love about it. But you can see the follower right there. And since there's no darts in it, if I try to push this forward, it just hits the follower and is not allowed to go through. And if we pop a couple darts in there, you can see that one goes in. Next one goes, and there's our first problem. My last dart, oh, there we go, I got it. And now I prime again, and I just hit the follower right away. So immediately I have tactile feedback that I am completely out of darts in this magazine and I need to swap it out before I fire again. Very useful, especially in a blaster where you can't see the breech. Again, doesn't really apply as much to this blaster. I can visually look at it, but even still, maybe I don't want to be looking at my breech when I'm reloading. This one that I just installed fit in really easily. I would lubricate it if I was doing a proper install. Otherwise, I really see nothing wrong with them. As far as I know, Frantz Foamworks sells these on their website as well, so you could certainly check it out. A number of other people do sell them. This is an idea that's been around for quite a long time. And again, I don't know where this design came from, so. Now the next thing in the stocking is this. This is a rail-mounted sight. And I say rail-mounted because I think it's supposed to fit primarily on Picatinny. It seems to also squeeze onto Nerf rail and some other things. The idea behind it, and it seems like just kind of a gimmick, you're able to stick 2 short darts in here, and it sort of changes the sight profile, but ultimately it just feels like kind of a decorative sight. The thing that bugs me about this sight is the geometry along the bottom here. It kind of sticks down below the point where the rail attaches. And I found when trying to attach it to blasters, most of the time, it makes it impossible to install install on the rail because there isn't that much clearance below the rail. Now, it does seem to work, and on Dart Zone rail, it's just a really tight fit. So as you can see, that's as far as that's going to go. Anywhere past that, and it's just going to hit the top of the blaster and just not go any farther. It very nearly fits on the breaking wind, but if I try to push it anywhere past this, you'd notice that the tail is kind of flipping up and it's trying to dig into the top of the blaster. It's a little more obvious if you look at it attached on the front. On the Nexus Pro, there is in fact barely enough vertical clearance to fit it on there. So I imagine that the Nexus and probably the Max Striker is what they designed this around. Oh, that is a tight fit. Oh, I don't want to break it. All right, well, that's on there. So this sight, you know, holding the extra darts, it's kind of a neat gimmick, but I don't know how I would ever use this, ultimately, having it in there. This extra geometry down here is literally just the problem. If it's a tight fit, I mean, great. Once I get it on there, it's not going to move, and that's nice. But I can't get it onto most blasters. It's very limited in its usability, which is kind of a bummer. And the final entry in the stocking, and honestly probably my favorite piece, is a stock. That's right, the stocking has a stock. It's just a buffer tube stock. It's printed very minimally. There's this space on the back. There's a back piece on here that appears to be glued on. It was glued on pretty straight. It's in pretty good shape. The print quality is decent. There's some weird stuff going on with the geometry. You can see these extra lines up here where it seems like this part of the geometry was designed and then this part of the geometry was designed, the upper blue part, and they were kind of met together but not really smoothed out. There's like jagged edges where those two parts meet. Relatively minor thing, but like you can see that the print direction changed. But it's not a glued part. There's just weird geometry there. And then you've got the back pad with hexagons. This is all just PLA. There's no like soft pad on the end of this. I really like this short stock, functionally speaking. It's extremely simple. You just take something with a buffer tube. I've been putting it on my Mark III with my terrifying Jolt King / Vile Mods Smiling Triad sticker, and just pumping it on there. It's a really perfect fit. It comes right up to my sling mount, and there is room down here to put a screw and a nut to hold it in place. I haven't done that yet, but also the way that I'm using this, I haven't really had any problems with it coming off. It's very comfortable. It's very easy to use. I like this stock. I would love to see this geometry cleaned up and fixed, but that's really my only gripe. A screw just fell out of this. I guess conveniently I have... Alright, we're just doing repairs on site right now. So yeah, it came with this great little stock. I'd love to see them fix this geometry glitch, and then I'd love to see them with like a rubber backing. I'd actually pay a little money for that. That's pretty nice. So ultimately, am I glad that I bought the stocking? Yeah, I enjoyed a lot of this stuff. I think it's a really cute idea. I am glad that I was able to support Clowny's Toy Drive in a way other than just donating, which I also did. I don't personally know when I'm going to get to use a thing. I'm always glad to have new patches for stuff. If you have cool patches, send them to me. It was a good excuse to try out these followers. I've known about them for a while and I haven't gotten around to them. These ones are in good shape. And despite some funkiness, these are decent products as well. And I certainly will find use for them. The stocking and the patches, of course, were exclusive to this. So if these products are available for sale from Frantz Foamworks, again, I'd love to see them fix up this geometry, but then I would certainly recommend this stock. It's very simple, and if it's the kind of thing where the cost is kept low, sweet. It's a good option. There's better options for these double Talon mag attachments, but there's certainly nothing wrong with this one other than the relatively loose grip on a 15-round magazine. Would I recommend buying Frantz Foamworks the box or stocking type products? I have mixed feelings about sort of loot crates in general. I think Frantz Foamworks is doing a better job with this one because you do know what's coming in it in advance. You know that it's not them just necessarily trying to get rid of stuff. Obviously, they have to actually 3D print everything that goes into each one. So it's a pretty different kind of situation than your normal loot crate. Also, though, this is the only one I've actually bought. I've certainly enjoyed watching Captain Xavier's overviews of all the box options. But ultimately, every time I looked at them, I kind of went like, well, I think I'm just a little pickier about what I want in my blasters. So sort of buying these and sort of being at the whim of whatever colors come along, unless I know that I want to paint those exact things, it doesn't make a ton of sense for me to pick those up. But if you're just getting started in modding and you kind of just want some things to get the juices flowing and give you ideas and make you just want to try stuff, it's certainly something you could consider. They do now offer a subscription for the box for the whole year. I don't know. Again, the stocking is the only one that I've played with so far. I know that the first box this year is essentially 3D printed wands that you like stick a dart in and like yeet the dart. So it seems like a somewhat different tenor this year than the box last year, which was definitely more focused on modding. So take that at your own leisure, however you feel about that. Me personally, I want to thank Frantz Foamworks for being involved in Clowny Nerf's toy drive. I think that that is super, super awesome of them. If they design this part, I'd love to see them keep working on their design chops and kind of working out the little details. I did pick up a couple other things from them that might get a separate review at some point. One is this stock that I bought a couple of. The other one being this scar barrel, which I'm still trying out, so I'll have to actually sit down and do some kind of test on it, but it is very snowy outside right now, and so it's kind of hard to test things at decent range. So that's all I have on this right now. If you enjoyed this video, if you liked it, please do hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe. Let me know what you think about these goodies down in the comments. All that normal YouTube stuff, you know how it is. And until next time, I'll see you on the field.